Thank you for listening to the Living Zen-podcast. If you've been listening for a while and are wondering how you can take the next step in developing your own Zen practice, or how you can more formally connect with our community, please explore our online Orientation to Zen practice, which you can find on our website at zenwest.ca. If you enjoy the resources that we make available online, we would very much appreciate your support. There are a number of ways that you can help us continue to do the work we do. One of the best ways is by becoming a part of our community as an associate. Your commitment of $10 a month will ensure that offerings like the Living Zen-podcast, eZendo, and our online Orientation to Zen will continue to be available around the world to everyone with an interest in truly living Zen. To become an associate, please visit our website at zenwest.ca and click on Become an Associate. Many more Zen Talks are available for purchase on iTunes and at Amazon.com. Just search for Venerable Eshu Martin. These talks are also made available for free on our website for all of our members and associates. You may also want to download the Living Zen Podcast app, which makes downloading and listening to the podcast effortless. Thank you for your support, and thank you for listening to Living Zen. So tonight is our last open house of 2012. It's been a very interesting year of practice, I think. At least for me, I don't know about you. December in the Zen tradition, we usually have one of the biggest celebrations or most significant activities in the Zen tradition it's called Rohatsu, which is an intensive practice period in which we recognize or acknowledge the 7 days of practice before the Buddha woke up, had his great realization. And in the Zen tradition, this is often commemorated with a 7-day sesshin, or intensive. A lot of sitting, late night sitting, early mornings. And then a ceremony at the end, Jodo-e, awakening day. But for me, December, the intensive part of December usually begins after all the sitting is done. I think for a lot of us, I find the end of the year to be the acid test of our practice. All year long we spend engaged in this kind of formal practice, this kind of Zendo investigation. We spend it cultivating an awareness of our breath, some insight into the functioning of our heart and our mind. And we can go out into the world and investigate how we're making relationship with people, with objects, and with environments. And then we come to the end of the year, and it's showtime, folks. All of the stuff that we've been engaged in practicing throughout the year all comes to a head, I think, at the end of the year, when, for many of us, the regular schedule gets kind of broken up. It's not just work every day and weekends as they always are, maybe working in the garden. There's a lot of social interactions going on. And there's a lot of family. Oh, family. I think for monks and people who engage in intensive practice, these kinds of intensive meditation retreats, they're hard in a way, but man, I think for many of us they're a lot easier than family activities. So as we go forward into the holiday season, whatever that means for us and whatever way we celebrate that or avoid that or whatever, we're going to be faced with all kinds of challenges. We're going to be faced with finding balance, finding awareness in the midst of a tremendous amount of indulgence, lots of opportunities for excess, and lots of opportunities for its opposite, which is just utter avoidance, holding up and avoiding things. So how can we use our practice? How can we engage in a practice? How can we apply this awareness and insight to our day-to-day lives throughout the holiday season? We're going to be interacting with human beings who are different in a lot of ways than our day-to-day relationships. We have struggles with people all the time at work, on the street, on the bus, at the coffee shop. But this group of people that we socialize with in the holiday season, our family, they're particularly gifted, particularly skilled at challenging us and poking us in all the sore spots. They know where those sore spots are. Sometimes they cause those sore spots. And so we can, fall into old habits around this kind of stuff. We can just sort of go through the usual routine with family and with traditions and with social obligations and have-tos. Or we can apply ourselves with wisdom, with insight, and with awareness to each of these interactions, each of these relationships, each of these situations. And we can transform them into this sort of, end of the year routine, into a dynamic opportunity for transformation. It doesn't have to be a big giant thing, but even in a single charged interaction, if we can remain connected with our practice enough to just allow ourselves a single breath, just the smallest amount of space before we react in our usual habitual way. If we can find the space to receive what's coming at us, to just breathe, to allow some space, and instead to respond with wisdom, with clarity, with compassion, we'll find that this experience, this year-end challenge, maybe test even, provides us with an opportunity to really change our lives and to change the lives of those around us. We can start to see what the sort of particular activism of Zen Buddhism is. It's not going out into the streets with placards or anything, but it's the transformation that takes place when we transform ourselves. It's the transformation that takes place when we do relationship differently. It's the transformation that takes place when we accept this teaching of praticca samutpada, interdependent co-origination. Each and everything in this vast cosmos is intimately connected. When we change ourselves, when we do something differently ourselves, it impacts everything in this cosmos. It impacts all of the relationships that we have. It impacts all of the environments that we walk through. Now, here, I've said my piece. And for the next couple of weeks until we get back to the Zendo, you are each going out into the laboratories of your life. Zen Buddhism isn't a religious faith that you need to take at face value. Just take what I say and go. No. I'm making a proposition. Here's a hypothesis. And your laboratory is your life. Maybe your in-laws are the crucible. So take this next couple of weeks and experiment. Apply your practice to your lives. Do you take that next drink or not? Do you take that next piece of cake or not? Do you cut that cousin that's been on your case since you were a kid or not? Explore this. Experiment with this. Investigate this. And maybe when we come back in the new year, we'll have an opportunity to talk about this great end of year intensive experiment. I look forward to it. Have a happy holiday. Thanks for listening to the Living Zen podcast. If you follow Living Zen through iTunes, I would very much appreciate it if you would take a moment to let me know what you think about it by rating or reviewing the podcast, so that new listeners can also hear what you have to say. Thank you for your time and for your support.